to worry. I've got no room for doubt. No matter what's coming at me, you'll always be the beautiful I sing about. There ain't no limitations to your amazing grace. Your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. I'm gonna sing a brand new song. Yeah, I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away on this beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day.
Hello and thank you for joining us. It is a great day to be alive. I'm so excited that you're joining us here once again on the Tammie Tubb Show. If I could say anything to you right now, I want you to know that God is truly a healer. You're looking at someone who had 2 children who passed away within 2 months of each other, went through suicidal thoughts, depression, and yes, a divorce after 5 years, but God is a healer. He will restore you right where you are. And my guest on today is one of my fabulous, beautiful sisters inside and out. And she's going to tell you even the more how God has healed her, delivered her, and what she's doing now in the community. I'm telling you, this is a story you don't want to miss. So just call someone and let them know that the Tammie Tubb Show is on, and it's time for you to move in faith. If you will, join with me in welcoming my sister, Raven Ross, to the Tammie Tubb Show. God bless you and welcome, Raven. Wow, God, wow. I just want to say thank you. Because the enemy has tried to throw curveballs in time after time, but I finally have you here. I just want to go over there and just give you a big hug. That's all. You know, I look at you and I see this gorgeous, smiley, bubbly person that's always serving and helping everyone. But the reality is you don't look like what you've been through. I mean, literally. Can you just share some insight of who you are and where you are now?
I'll start off speaking on my childhood. At the age of 11, I was faced with the obstacle of losing my mom, which was very life-changing for me because it changed my environment. And, you know, I've always known family because, you know, my mom was big on family, but it was kind of different, you know, having to move and just be uprooted from my home and separated from my siblings and that type of thing. So at a young age, you know, that took an emotional toll on me. Going through something like that, you know, as a kid, you don't know, you know, how to get through stuff like that. And, you know, when we come in the world, all we know is mom, whatever goes wrong, mom's going to make everything right. And to lose the person, you know, that brought me into this world and that I depend on the most, it was kind of hard. And, you know, we've always grown up in church and, you know, knew who God was. But at the age of 11, you know, we really don't understand, you know, the true meaning of seeking God and, you know, letting God guide you and going to God and praying, you know, through your hard times and stuff like that. So it was kind of hard.
At 11, what was your initial thought? Were you angry with God?
I was. And I was also kind of angry with my mom because I remember visiting her in the hospital one time, and she said that she was like, I'm going to eat. She was like, I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to make sure I come home to be with y'all. And she was like, I promise. And, you know, as a kid growing up, my mom never broke any promises. So in my mind, I'm like, you know, she's going to do just that. But, you know, stuff like that is out of her control. You know, she had the control over it to, you know, stay and raise us. I'm sure, you know, she would have, but you know, things took a turn for the worse.
And, you know, as we deal with death, God always knows what's best for us. But when it happens, it's like you're angry. Emotions are on a roller coaster. You don't understand. And even as a child, it's like, why would you take my mom? Wait a minute. That's my protector. She's here to serve me, to love me. And if nobody else can fix it, mama can. You know, so fast forward, you were taken from your siblings. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why? Why were you the one that were pulled away? Or
well, it was one of those instances where my brother's dad got him, my sister's dad got her, and my younger sister, she had been in the hospital since birth. So she stayed in the hospital for a couple of months. And when she was like 5 months, she got to come home. But the day she got to come home, my mom got sick the next day. So my aunt, you know, ended up getting her. So when my mom passed, I ended up just going with the aunt that had my baby sister. And that's how we all, just stayed in separate places and grew up separately, which also took a toll on me as well.
Yeah. And I could see that, because when you're growing up, you have that close family knit.
Right.
But your sisters, your brothers, where are they? Why? You have so many questions. And then, of course, your mom is gone.
Right.
So it's like, I have a new environment. I got to get used to this person. But again, God is still in control.
Exactly.
And I say that because life for you now is totally different. When you look back as an adult, you can see God's hand working even in the midst of it.
Yes.
But as a child, just the abandonment, you're feeling abandoned, unloved. Were there any other emotions that was going through your mind at the time?
I was angry. And people would tell me, you can't question God's word, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm hurting, so somebody else has to hurt too. Mm-hmm. And it's like I said, I knew who God was, and, things like that, because that's what I was raised on and that's what I was taught. But at the age of 11, I didn't, I wasn't picking up a Bible and reading it and understanding the word for myself. And, I hadn't been in any situations where I had to pray to God and ask him to fix it, because like I said, mom was always there to fix those situations. And so it built up a lot of anger in me. And, over the course of time went by, it went where I didn't want to talk to anybody. And, my aunt was like, well, you need counseling and this, that, and that. And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, people are going to look at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. So, she signed me up for counseling, and I got in there and I'm just looking like.
You didn't communicate. You didn't talk.
I didn't. And I'm like, you're my aunt. I won't even talk to you. So what makes you think that I'm finna communicate with this total stranger? Yeah. But that in the long run, it hurt me. And it goes back to the saying, pressure bursts pipes. Yeah. And it's like over the years and all of that stuff building up. And it's just one day I just broke down.
Oh, wow. Because I was going to ask you what happened, or do you remember the moment when life happened for you, when you just actually just released it? It actually took me, Raven, if I could be honest, 5 years after the death of my sons to just cry out, to release. I remember being in the shower, and it was like a rage of anger, and tears just began to just overwhelm me because I got busy. I was serving and moving, and people thought I was okay, and I was really about to have a breakdown, and nobody knew. So when was that moment for you when you were able to just release it and you just broke down?
It was a moment where I was upset. Mm-hmm. My aunt had been telling me, like, just let it out, just let it out. And I would use my anger to just do little devilish stuff to the other kids. Yeah. And I got in trouble one day. And in the midst of her whooping me, it's like I just exploded. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I just want my mom. I'm sick of this place. I hate you. And she never did anything wrong to me.
Because she knew it was a release. She didn't take it personal. Because you had kept it in just like a balloon. You blow, and all of a sudden, whoosh. Yeah. Did you feel better after that happened?
I did. On the inside of me, it felt, a release, but I also felt kind of bad, to tell somebody who has been nothing but good to me those words. Yeah. So it was kind of a up and a down feeling. Moment.
Yeah. After the release, how did life change for you in your teenage years?
It got better because, like I said, I had so much anger in me. So my aunt would do, she always made sure we had the best of everything. But, she would say, y'all are my kids, y'all are my babies. And the young-minded me was like, you're not my mama. Mm-hmm. You can't take the place of my mama and, stuff like that. But as I got older, it's like, I love this lady like she is my mom.
Because she was loving you in spite of.
And yes. And, like now it's like she's not my mom, but it's like she feels like my mom. Mm-hmm. And I got that much respect for her, to put her in that category because, like I said, she has been nothing but good to us. And even I say all the time, I feel as though she treated me and my sister better than she did her own kids. Yeah. And, the ungrateful young me was angry and didn't understand that. But now that I'm older and, when I got older, my teenage years to understand, it's like this lady actually loves us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So.
This is what love feels like. She was
Yeah.
giving you that unconditional agape God's love.
Yes.
And as adults, we look back and we're going to say, oh, that's what that was. Because sometimes we try to give them hell on wheels, you know?
And I did that.
And she just would not budge because she understood. She just
Yeah.
lost her mother. It's a transition for her. Do you think now that you are an adult and being successful as you are, that you use that as a means of motivation to be who you are today in society?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I just take it as, you know, I look at stuff as if my mom is still here, you know, what would I be doing if she was still here?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they give me the motivation to just, you know, work harder.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, I have two beautiful little girls that looks up to me. So, you know, I also want to be the best example that I can be for them as well.
I love it. And for those of you who don't know who she is, I'm going to say this real quick. She's actually in law enforcement. She's a little powerhouse. I'm telling you, it's small in stature, but an actual powerhouse. And I'm telling you, a force to be reckoned with. And I want you to just share with them how you actually came into the career of law enforcement.
Well,
Was it always a dream, or did you see it as a vision, a passion? What happened to just draw you into law enforcement?
Well, growing up, my aunt that raised me, she was the chief of police in
Awesome.
Lambert, Mississippi. So, you know, just watching her every day. And I know there were times, you know, where she wanted to complain, but I've never heard her complain about her job. And being the chief and being a female, I know that came with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And just growing up, you know, being around that, and I just grew a passion at a young age for law enforcement.
Yeah.
And two, I grew a heart and a passion to help people. So that, you know, that's what made me want to get into law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. And where are you now? Because you've gone up the ranks, I mean, quickly. It's like God just
Yes.
favored you. You pray, God answered. You pray,
Yes.
God answered. And sometimes people don't understand the favor of God.
Yes.
When the favor of God is on your life, things just happen. Doors open and opportunities. So just share some insight in regards to just how God has just favored you.
I'll go back to the hardships and what, you know, really pushed me. I was in a relationship, you know, a lot of people will be like, you young, you never been through anything. And, you know, I really don't elaborate on a lot, but, you know, I just use my struggles as a platform, you know, and as a source of motivation to
Yes.
continue to push. And, you know, I was going through a relationship, going through postpartum depression, having suicidal thoughts. There were even a time where I actually, you know, was finna get in my car and just, my mind was actually made up to get in my car and just drive as fast as I could into whatever, which is selfish, you know, because I could have taken someone else's
You
life
wanted out.
as
You
well.
wanted out.
I just wanted it out. And, you know, all it took was someone to just, you know, sit me down and just talk to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, after just that one simple conversation, I felt like the weight of the world was lifted off of my shoulder. And from that point on, I made up in my mind, like, look, you got two beautiful girls, like something has got to give. You can't live like this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I stepped out on faith. I didn't have a dime in my pocket.
My God.
And, you know, I stepped out on faith after just having a kid, my second kid. And I went into the police academy. Had no clue how I was going to come up with $3,600 to pay for the police academy.
Walking by faith.
And that's where, you know, my faith grew. That's where my relationship with God grew. And I got close to one of my sorors, and she was like, I just want you to go to church with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to church, and, you know, I started to pray more and this, that, and that. And it was like, well, you know, you got to pray and ask God to lead you. And I'm like, well, how will I know what answer God is giving me?
No one had ever told you that prior to your soror telling you that.
No.
God sent her just for you.
Yes.
And then you want to know, how am I going to know when he's speaking? How am I going to know when he's talking? How will I know when he answers? What did she say?
She said, God will put it on your heart and let you know what you need to do next. And he did just that. Like I said, I stepped out on faith, went to the police academy, and I just prayed. I would constantly pray. And, you know, my mindset was on finding a job, because at the time I was living in Memphis. So my mindset was on finding a job, you know, somewhere near there.
Yeah.
But, you know, my dad had been trying to get me to move to Columbus, and I'm like, Dad, I don't know anybody. I'm like, I don't have any family down there. You know, our relationship is not all that good for me to just, you know, put trust in your words to move where you are.
God is moving and you're questioning.
And yes. And so I just continue to pray and pray. And, you know, the police academy is 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So you had week 10. It was a lot of police departments coming in offering jobs. And I wasn't moved by their offer. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget the assistant chief from West Point came to speak. And I'm like, this man, he's presented very well. He was dressed in a suit. And the way he spoke it's like he was not only speaking to me, but it's like he was speaking to my heart as well.
Your spirit came alive.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm just listening. And I'm like, okay. So I did the application, you know, still not knowing what the outcome would be. And a week before graduation, they came and they was like, well, you know, the director of the academy came in. He was like, well, Ross, you know, they call us by our last name.
Hold on before you say anything. You still have not paid the $3,600,
no,
correct? I wanted you all to know this because she was walking in faith literally.
No.
And you all know that most of the time, what we have to do now, you have to pay things up front before you do anything. So we know that God was favoring you. I just wanted you all that are watching this, that are believing God right now, to meet some needs and to exceed your expectations, to understand that God will provide. When you move, he moves. Okay. So they come in
and he was like, well, Ross, congratulations, you got the job at West Point. I'm like, okay. But in the back of my mind, I'm still like, I still got to pay for the police academy. Mm-hmm. And I had ran into like a little money because I had an accident, but I had needed that money to take care of my babies back home. So I still didn't have the $3,600. And they came down the day before graduation to bring us our uniforms. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to get my certification because I don't have $3,600 because I had to use the money to take care of my babies back home. It's like, well, we'll pay your tuition.
What was your response?
I just broke down because I knew at that point, like, it was nothing but God because I didn't know where it would come from.
My God.
And I froze at the moment and I'm just like, so you're offering me a full-time job with benefits and you're offering to pay for the police academy. And they was like, yes. And I was like, well, I don't have a house. I don't have a house nowhere near there. I live in Memphis. They was like, well, you know, we can work with it as long as you can get the work on time.
Jesus.
And I went to go stay with my dad. I stayed with my dad for like a week. Mm-hmm. And before I got my credit together, thank God I got that together. I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to get an apartment in my name because I got this on my credit. I got that on my credit. And the lady called me back like a week later and she was like, well, you got approved for the apartment. And I'm just like,
God is just showing himself strong time after time again.
It was like a couple months and like I had everything.
My God.
And how I knew it was God speaking to me is exactly what she told me. Because like I said, all the other offers that I had got, it was just like, okay. But with that one, it was like when I went down there to the police department to take the PT test, it was like I felt at home. It was like I knew these people prior to me even coming down here. And I was like, okay, so this is what this feels like when God answers your prayers. And I just continued to pray. And he just opened up doors for me. And then, you know, once I got settled in, it's like my career just took off.
Wow. When God rightfully, divinely places you where you need to be, favor, increase, and provision will always show up. Somebody that's watching me right now, you need to make a note of that. Favor, you don't deserve it, but because he loves you, you know, he's like, you know what? You've been faithful. Let me just show myself strong. Favor, increase. And he did that with the promotions. Yes. And of course, provision. Here you are thinking, where am I going to live? Oh, my credit is messed up. And God is like, girl, I took care of $3,600. Girl, I gave you a job. Now I'm giving you an apartment. Somebody right there needs to receive that by faith and know that if he did it for Raven, he's about to do it for you. There's no accident that you're watching this broadcast right now. God is telling you, listen to the words that's coming out of my mouth. Those that are are watching me and listening to me, that God is saying, I'm about to show up. I'm about to blow your mind. I'm about to exceed your expectations. I'm about to do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ever ask or think. But you have to move. You have to do something. Whatever you do in the natural, God will go increase it in the supernatural. Raven, you had to move. And I thank God for your dad, because you were still twirling around trying to figure things out. I mean, just think about how God just transitioned you. And I mean, just such a blessing, because let's go from the levels. You started out after graduation. You were, what rank were you?
I was called a PFC, which is a private first class.
Okay, private first class. So within how many months you were elevated to?
I say in like 8 months. They put up the paper to apply to be an investigator, and everybody was like, "Oh, you don't have enough time in law enforcement. You hadn't been on the streets that long. You don't know this. You don't know that." And in my mind, I'm like, if God brought me this far, then He'll take me further. And then I'm like, I'm one of those people who feel like I can do whatever. As long as I have somebody to properly teach me, I can do it.
I can do all things through Christ who what?
Strengthens me. And so I applied for the position, and I ended up getting the position. And I also went up to a corporal, which also raised my pay. And everything just been on and up and up. And I recently received another promotion to sergeant about a month ago.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's just, like I said, my career just took off.
But it started with the 8 months. If you all don't know this, the number 8 is new beginnings. God was telling you new beginnings. And in addition to that, you might as well just go ahead and just let everybody know, because you mentioned this in the broadcast, that you were in a terrible, horrible relationship. Right. God said, I'm going to give you a job, career you've been desiring, you wanted. I'm going to give you a home that you'll be at peace with, built a relationship, and then you found love.
I did. It actually was accidental. You know, when we first met, it was just like, oh, you a Zeta? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm a Sigma. But it first started off as a little question, like, oh, what you know about Arizona? Because he seen the keychain on my key ring. And I'm like, who are you questioning me? And, you know, from that point on, he was just like, you know, whatever you need, you know, just let me know. And it started off as a genuine friendship. And actually, I had told someone, I'm like, I would never date anybody like that, because he's too light-skinned and he got those pink lips.
Again, she has a list, but God knows what you need and when you need it.
And, you know, we just started like doing stuff that we like both of us love seafood. So we would just go buy seafood and, you know, just chill at the house, watch the game, or, you know, conferences and stuff like that. He introduced me to the New Beginning conferences that they have in the summertime. And
church,
yeah,
God,
and it like I said, it just started off as a genuine friendship, and then it was like one day I was like, you know what, let me stop hanging around this guy so much before I fall in love. And he was like, oh well, wait, it's too late.
Too late. And and then the next thing we know, God is transitioned, and you all are now engaged. You know, and I wanted her to say that to someone right now that's really believing. You know, in the world that we live in, so many times people will say that true love doesn't exist. They are, I'm telling you, the epitome of true love. Best friends, besties, they work together. It's just amazing. Both are, and you know, law enforcement, we call it the Dove love, Zeta Sigma love. I mean, it's just amazing how God will rightfully position and place you where you need to be once you say yes to His will and yes to His way. But it doesn't stop there, because God actually plays, and time is moving quickly. Before we go, I want you to share upcoming December the 11th, you actually have She Is Me, because God put this on your heart to share your testimony and to reach out to so many other women. So just share briefly about the expectation and invite those women to come.
Yes, I'm on December the 11th in Columbus at New Beginning Full Gospel Baptist Church. I'll be hosting my first Women Empowering Women event. It's like a brunch, you know, where we'll do talk. And my purpose for doing this event is because, you know, I've been seeing a lot of younger women take their lives from dealing with postpartum depression and stuff like that. And that once was me. I didn't, you know, succeed, of course, because I'm here today. And I just want to, you know, let them know that, you know, death is not the answer. that all you have to do is just find somebody to, be your strength, be your backbone, and like I was telling, one of my friends, it's hard to tell someone in a dark place that to pray about it.
Yes.
Pray with them,
Right.
put forth action to actually help that person.
Yes.
Figure out why they're in that dark place, and it's just a lot, a bunch of emotions just all over the place. Majority of the time, those emotions come from the person who you're having the child with not being there.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes all it takes is, just somebody there for you just to fall back on and
Yes.
just release that pressure to. And, not only that, but it's a lot of resources out as well, that can help women as far as when it comes to their financial situation, their homes, helping women get back in school, because I was speaking to a young lady and she was like, well, I work a lot, so I don't have time to sit in the classroom. I'm like, well, baby, I work a lot as well. I was like, but I go to school online.
Right. There are resources.
And if you want to go to school, I can show you how to get signed up for school, do your financial aid and all of that,
Right.
just be there for somebody.
And so the conference that's coming up, the resources will be available. Of course, there are speakers. We just want
Right.
you all to come. Just the circle that you are involved in to empower, to inspire. If you're not there, we invite you all to come. It's, was it New Beginnings Full Gospel, correct?
Yes.
And so Raven, of course, will be there. I will be there. Asia White will be there as
Mhm.
well. And so many other powerful women. We just want you all to come. And like I said, eat brunch. It doesn't matter. You say, I don't have the right clothing. Come as you are. We want you to come as you are. You don't have to have the best wig and all this kind of stuff. Come. We just want you to come to be a part because believe me or not, we used to be where you are. I
Right.
tell people and they laugh. I said, once upon a time, my best friends were Vaseline and Visine and a pull back bonnet on my head because I was crying and I was depressed and had so many emotions going on. So we've been there and we want to pull you up and love on you on that day. Any final words you want to say to anyone that's watching right now?
Yes, I just want to elaborate on where the name come from. I chose the name She Is Me because I just want to let other women know that, this is a no judgment zone.
Yeah.
I once was you. I once was in those shoes. Don't be embarrassed, because you're having suicidal thoughts. People, online bash moms for killing themselves. They're not in our shoes. They don't know the emotional stuff that we go through. And, even the women that say, well, I would never do that. I would never do this. I don't put my mouth on other women,
Amen.
because like I said, that once was me. That can later on be me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just want to tell everybody, to stay encouraged and find somebody, on a spiritual level that can relate to you and, that can speak to your spirit and speak to your soul, not just, somebody that's there telling you, oh, I'm here for you and this, that, and the third. Get with somebody that's actually going to be there for you genuinely, and to physically help you come out of the state you're in.
Amen. Amen. For those that are watching right now, how can they contact you? Because I'm sure there are some women that are watching say, I need to contact her right now. How can they contact you or even register?
Well, we have a Facebook page, She Is Me. You can go to that page, and there will be a link you can click on to register. I also have some posts on my personal page, which is going to be under Raven Ross, spelling RavenRoss. And you can just go on there, just register. I mean, everybody is welcome. You don't have to be a mother to come, because all women deal with depression, whether it's, an abusive relationship. Just come out and, just catch a word.
Amen. And we'll most definitely be there with our hands wide open, ready to pray with you. There's one thing that I often say, that you will never leave the same in Jesus' name. Believe me, your spirit will be uplifted. We're going to have some great food if they're hungry. You'll be fed spiritually and naturally, but your life will never be the same in Jesus' name. Thank you so very much,
Yes,
Raven.
ma'am.
I'm telling you, God is good. You did phenomenal. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away on this beautiful day.